Welcome, all you amazing people, to our Aries full moon reading. The Aries full moon is going to be reaching its fullest on October 20th, around 8:56 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So wherever you're at in the world, you can adjust for that, because that's going to be at the very climax of all the energies. This is an Aries full moon, so you got all that fiery energy of Aries being a fire sign, and then multiply that times the regular, just huge energy of a full moon, and you've got Shazam! You got all this energy coming in, a lot of energy. Of course, with a full moon and with all this amplification, emotions are also going to be amplified in a huge way. So just know whatever emotion that you're focusing on, and whatever emotion you choose during that time, you're going to feel it in a big way. But it's wonderful. I mean, you can feel the energy up to a week before the full moon, up to a week or so after the full moon. The more closer we get to the full moon, the more intense it is, the more dreams you're going to have, so you're going to feel all that. So if you feel out of sorts, just look up at the sky and go, the full moon. That is why my emotions are feeling very, expanded. What's great too is we had 2 full moons in a row in Aquarius in July and August, and then we just had a full moon in Pisces last month. So that had us all on this track of dreamy times, and then we followed that up with the energy of the Pisces full moon, which was about putting some practical plans to those dreams. So putting some plans around the steps towards that dream. And now we have all this blast of energy that we can use and focus it onto those steps. However, it's always a however, right? Also keep in mind that moving from Pisces to Aries, we're ending the cycle of the zodiac signs. We reached the end of Pisces and we're moving in to the beginning again with Aries. And so this might bring some new awareness, and it might cause you to desire to make revisions to the dream, make revisions to the plan. So you might alter your path a little bit, and that's totally okay. So if you feel that energy of wanting to switch things up, don't resist that, because it is part of this beautiful energy that will help you with all of that. Now, the last new moon we had in Aries was back on April 11th of this year, and that was a time of taking action on things. So when you look back around April 11th and see what was going on around that time, what kind of actions you did initiate, because now is also the time to reevaluate. You plant seeds and everything with a new moon. It grows into the harvest of the full moon. And then as you wane away from that to head back towards a new moon again, in that whole cycle of Aries new moon to Aries full moon, back to Aries new moon, it's like 6 months between a new moon and a full moon in the sign, and then back again. So, this moving away from the full moon will be a time where you're also going to be looking at what you're ready to let go of. So, there's all of this reevaluation type of energy coming with this full moon, because of the ending of that big cycle of Aries to Pisces and going back into Aries again, as well as the full moon. You're reaching the climax of the full moon and headed backward. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a reading for each sign, and the question we're kind of going to look at is, what can you reevaluate? But really, I really feel like with all this energy, it's where can you direct this lightning bolt of energy that's coming? What advice does Spirit and the Creator have for us on where we can direct it for the most beneficial experience and most in alignment of who we want to be and where we want to go? So we're going to go ahead and jump right into your reading right now. All right, all my Cancer signs, this is your reading for the full moon in Aries, and we're going to start off by pulling a card here from the Spirit of the Animals Oracle. And this is just going to be what the creator wants you to know about this 3-week period-ish around this full moon. Let's just give these a shuffle real quick here. Yep, so just what they want you to know, where you can direct this mighty lightning bolt of energy that's coming. So for our Cancer signs, what do you want them to know? Okay, boom. You got the moose. And that's wisdom. It says, let your head and mind reach to the stars, yet keep your feet grounded on the earth. Listen to the ancient wisdom in your soul. The ancestors speak through you. You know much. You may not know it all as a human, but you know much. So I love that. So definitely this beautiful, use that lightning bolt to spring up into the heavens, into the stars, and connect to who you are, your higher self, the other worlds, and but also keep like a bungee cord attached so that it brings you back down to earth and that you don't flood out into the heavens and leave us. If you go too far out there, you ain't coming back. So I love that. Stay grounded while you do it. And the energy that comes with this card is accomplishments, opportunities, self-esteem, worthiness, greatness, majesty, wisdom from the elders, instinct, honor, longevity, steadfastness, fearless. Love it. It says the moose is a powerful totem. It's a unique energy with many contradictions, awkward yet graceful, and plain but beautiful. Moose are masters of wisdom and perception. In spite of their large size, they are swift, confident, and fearless. Moose people always have a strong presence. Their totem stands 7 feet tall with a crown of antlers almost as wide. Their antlers are said to act as antenna to the secrets and teachings from the wise ones. Oh, I love that. If moose is your totem, you are a mystic and sit in the council of the ancestors. You are smart and outstanding in your field. You are intuitive, and from an early age, you've experienced connections to spirit that have eluded others. Makes total sense. You know, you are so connected because you're a water sign and you're actually ruled by the moon, which is all about connecting to the underworld and connecting to the unconscious and subconscious in the spirit world. It's like, yeah, you're totally resonating with you, I'm sure. You are a strong survivor. Moose lives a long life. Your lofty heights are not for the many, but for the few. With moose as totem, you are sure to travel the long, winding path to your destiny, wisdom, and mastery. I love that. And this card also has 4 questions or words of advice. So whatever resonates with you for during this period, you can choose to answer or mull over. The first one is, have you wandered into negative territory? Head for higher ground. Number 2, have you ignored your intuition and been led down a wrong path? Number 3, do not worry. You are a strong individual that can handle anything. And number 4, when in a struggle, take the higher ground. And the wrong path is, of course, our personal belief and part of our adventure. What would it might be if I chose a wrong path? There, of course, is no wrong path in our lives. Everything unfolds perfectly for us, right? No matter what we choose, we're learning about ourselves, we're experiencing. And we get to choose our free will of what story we put to any situation. So whatever path we go down, we are the ones that put the story to it. Is it right or wrong or adventurous or scary or happy or sad or whatever? I get to choose what that path means, right? So there's no wrong path. We just get to choose different stories that we apply to things. So we're going to also get clarification here. I'm going to start off with the Naked Heart Tarot. And what we're going to do is pull 3 different stacks. And they're going to represent the week before the full moon, the week after the full moon, and then 2 weeks after the full moon. So, Creator, for our Cancer signs, what do you want them to know about the week before this full moon? Okay, feel like it's these 2 here. And then what about the week after the full moon? Okay. And then what about the second week after the full moon? Okay. And then we're also going to pull a card here for each of those from this Wild Unknown Tarot. Just more clarification and validation or new information, whatever Creator would like to bring us. So for the week before the full moon, okay, and the week after the full moon, okay, and the second week after the full moon, please. Whoa, okay, it's that one there. A lot of energy in these cards. I tell you, this full moon in Aries is not something to be taken lightly. You don't mess with lightning. All right, so the week before the full moon, you've got the 8 of Cups. So yeah, this is about what are you ready to leave behind? You know, cups are your emotions. It's your world, your realm. You rule water. That's where you swim. Where you live and breathe. And so this is all about what you're ready to leave behind, what you're no longer serving you. Just great awareness that's coming from that here. And, you know, it's kind of like these are things that are anchoring you down to the earth, not grounding you, but they're anchoring and keeping you from going to those heights. So this is the week before the full moon. You're becoming very aware of it because you're very sensitive to your emotions. And by that, I mean that you're very aware of your emotions. You've, since you were very, very young, you have got to experience like feeling everyone's emotions, and because of that you do master emotions quite a bit because you didn't just feel your own and you know learn to deal with your own emotions. You felt everyone's emotions and got to deal with everyone's emotions, and that's how you do it, right? You jump in, you know, into the pool without knowing how to swim, and you just learned how to swim through it all. And again, we have a master. You're like an Olympian of swimmers of emotions, and so you understand as soon as you feel this draw to fly, you immediately know which emotions are keeping you down and which beliefs. You know, with those emotional stories that you've attached to things, you're like, oh, yep, that boom, yep, that boom, and it's like this hot air balloon that's being held down by these sandbags, and you're just like, yep, clip, 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 and they just drop, and you just raise very quickly, which makes sense. And really, and this is the Four of Pentacles, I feel like, because Pentacles is about your worth in the outside world, I feel a lot of these emotions and the things that you're leaving behind do have to do with your self-worth and the stories that you've been attaching to yourself based on other people's actions and other people's expectations, all those communications that you had from people on this is who you should be, this is what you should do, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you have to do, you need to do this. Like all that stuff is these cups that were weighing you down, but you're finding this beautiful inner awareness, this inner wisdom about your true pricelessness, and it definitely has to do with this connection that you're having with the higher realms and the call, like this antennas that you have. You're getting these messages and they're allowing you to see and especially feel what it feels like on the other side. You're getting like these droplets because you can't handle like a full glass of that energy from the other side. You would just like, your body would just kind of dematerialize and you'd go to the other side, because when you connect to that energy, your molecules and all the energy here are like, what am I doing down here? Psh, I'm going back. So we get this little droplet of this beautiful, powerful energy, this love energy of unconditional love of the Creator. And you're just like, wow. And you suddenly just have this blink of what the Creator thinks of you, how much you're loved without condition, how priceless you are. And that compares to this. Usually you'll see like cities, even some people walking toward in some cards. And that has to do with how we are defining ourselves by what other people are saying. And that's retail price. So it's like this marketplace, it feels like, you know, even with Four of Pentacles, with it being 4, I almost see like this little booth in a marketplace, and it's all about selling my wares. How am I going to show people I'm worth it? How am I going to get them to pay the price that I want them to tell me that my, you know, product or myself is worth this thing, right? And this is about that understanding that you've had. It's like this big aha with this that's happening with this, as this energy starts to flow into you from this moon. Yeah, because here's the 5 of Swords, and this is the conflict. You know, swords are your mindsets, your beliefs, your thoughts, attitudes, expectations, you know. And the 5 of Swords, usually you'll see like someone walking away from this battle, and, you know, someone, because of your mental thoughts and beliefs, it represents feeling defeated. It represents conflict even, right? And it's a beautiful awareness that comes from this, that, you know, you have the Ace of Swords in the middle here, which this is the bringer of truth. It shows either capital T truths that separates it from the small t truths of the outside world, right? And so this is all about your working through the conflict of these beliefs in your mind, because you have the old beliefs, like we talked about your worth, about what things mean, all those expectations from the outside world. And then you have that drops in, that shows you this whole other world, this unconditional thing. You know, all I've known in my life is conditions, you know, give and take, you reap what you sow, you have to live up to all this stuff or you get rejected. So it's a lot about fear of rejection. But then you have this unconditional that's just like pure joy. You're just like, wow. And this is all, it just allows you to understand how suppressive and oppressive those old things feel. You know, those old sandbags that are keeping you so low to the ground here. And so this Ace of Swords is really standing out in this card, and it's about what you're cutting away. And this is all about leaving behind what no longer serves you. This is also understanding the beliefs that are no longer serving you. And so you're really working it out. This is not the cutting away of it necessarily yet, but you're becoming aware of what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep, you know. As far as your beliefs and your thoughts, there's this challenge going on, like this mental battle that's going on. This is the week before coming into the full moon. And then you move into the week after the full moon, and this makes total sense. Now you got 6 of Cups. So you had 8 of Cups, and this is 6 of Cups. 6 of Cups is kind of like known as the nostalgia card, which is looking back, excuse me, over your past. I'm sorry, I didn't take a quick sip of coffee. Got a sudden tickle in my throat, which is interesting because you're looking back over your life, looking back over your past emotions and what story you had assigned to those. And they could be good emotions, you know, what we determine good emotions, or what story we put as bad emotions or negative emotions or neutral emotions, whatever story we put. It's like story time with Mr. or Mrs. Unicorn. And she's telling you the stories of that you had from your past, and she's bringing those to your awareness. And what's beautiful is that with that, especially as you go through this amazing awareness and this switch up here, you're able to use this lightning energy to transform, and you never lose your old memories. Like how you remembered something, like if I remember something as my childhood was painful to me because I was scared, or I wanted to experience what it felt like to be abandoned, or to be bullied, or whatever it might be, when I'm always going to have that a memory I can go back to and attach to that pain. But when you have new awareness and new growth, and you go back to revisit old memories, you can go back as your more powerful self, your wiser self, right? This huge moose, instead of being, experiencing it as a little kitten, right? Instead, you go back as this huge moose, and you feel empowered and strong, and you go back, and then you're able to see the situation from a different point of view and feel different things about it. And you realize, like, oh, so that bully that was, picking on me back then, I just saw it as me being a victim. But now that I know more about people, and I know people who were bullies as children, and they were like, I was totally scared, so much and I felt so out of control at my home because of what was going on at home. I had to feel in control somewhere else, and that's how it expressed itself. And, they're like, I had no idea what I was doing, and I'm so sorry to the people that I bullied. And, you just realize you see things from a whole new viewpoint where you actually have compassion for people that, hurt you, that you had the story that they hurt you, and you realize they had no idea. They were drowning, in the ocean, and you were swimming by, and they grabbed onto you and tried to grab on because they thought, okay, you'll keep me above and you'll keep me safe, and or they hit you because they're panicking, and you're just like, okay, this had nothing to do with me. I just happened to be swimming by, and so this big, beautiful transformation happens, which helps you continue to cut away those sandbags that are holding you down, because you realize, and you're transforming them into helium balloons that help you fly even higher. I love that. Yeah, because here you have the Four of Swords. So this enlightenment that comes, and I love it because if you remove the Ace of Swords from here, you've got the Four of Swords. So now, for me, with what I'm seeing is that you now have the Ace of Swords in your hand, and you're determined, with your higher sight. You talked about the antenna here, and about connecting to your gut feeling and your intuition and your higher self. Now with this awareness, all this awareness that you're getting, with that revisiting and transformation of these emotions, what thoughts and beliefs you're putting to rest, which ones you're cutting away. So I love that this means you have the Ace of Sword in hand, because here it was still sitting there and you're starting to enter it, but here you're like, nope, I have it. I'm ready for the cutting. Chop, 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 chop. And I feel like we need to go to this one. Yeah. Because here's the Ace of Swords. You can't make it up. And here's this beautiful infinity symbol, meaning your infinite self has hold of this sword. Here's the lightning that we've been talking about, that energy coming in, and you just feel so empowered and you're using that beautiful, lightning bolt energy to put that to work in removing both emotions and thoughts and beliefs out of your way, so that you're just going higher and higher. I feel like you're just this ninja warrior that's using the sword to chop, 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 and you're just making fast work of cutting away all these many sandbags that were holding you down, and you're just like whoosh, you're just going so fast, moving upward into the sky, moving to higher places. I love that. Yep, Ace of Swords is in your hand, and here's actually the Ace of Swords. You just can't make it up. Yeah, and here's the full card. Beautiful. This means You've had a major ending of a cycle and you're starting a new adventure. The Fool is the zero. It's the absolute beginning. Again, you've come full circle and you're ready to head off into this new. And yeah, it's actually like this unicorn here. He's like, ta-da! Attached to the moon. So you're definitely, the Fool for me also represents like the soul and your higher self. And so it's like this total connection here. I just love this. You just can't make it up. This is you, your higher self. This is your infinite self, your higher self. You have the sword, you have the lightning. You're applying this to your whole life path, and you're seeing, you've moved so fast upward that you just have this deep, deep connection to your soul. And with that, you just have this expansive, it talks about this wisdom and this knowledge, that you're seeing life just in a whole new way. Because the amazing thing about our lives here is we don't see life as it is. We see life as we are on the inside. And we talked about all the stories that we apply. So whatever story we're applying on the inside is what we see. And when we believe a certain thing, we can't help but see life in a certain way and act in a certain way. And when you go through the change, like you're doing, this massive speedy way, like it mentioned here, it's very swift movement and the swift transformation in your life. You suddenly go, wow, the world looks so different than it used to. Like, well, actually the world was always as it was. We're just seeing it differently because you're applying a different story. You're seeing truths, those capital T truths, versus those small t truths of the outside, ego and fear. You're seeing these capital T truths of unconditional love. So you are seeing, unicorns and rainbows and fairies. It's like, oh, wow. It's like this. You go from this, black and white world. Like I always remember, like the Wizard of Oz, it starts off black and white world in Kansas, and suddenly you go into Technicolor when they enter Oz, and that's kind of what I feel is like this experience that happens. And it, the hot air balloon in the Wizard of Oz, it's all this. It's you're being transported from one viewpoint of life and connecting to this such higher viewpoint. It definitely does look different. And it is. Like, if you ever been in like a corn maze or a maze that has high walls and you can only see, to the left, to the right, and front and back. And sometimes left and the right is there's just a wall there, right? And you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of here. I'm so confused. I feel turned around. I just feel lost. But if you had someone up in a hot air balloon above the maze looking down going, oh, it's easy. Just go up, take a left, and go straight, and you're out. Or you get to the prize. And they're like, oh, thanks. And that's what we do. We connect to our higher self and that whole support team, like through your antennas, right? And through this beautiful moon energy that you are so familiar with, connecting to the high. You've got the third eye connecting here. Just beautiful. I am loving this for you. Definitely well worth the lightning energy that's coming, because this is going to be a transformative 3-week period for you. And I'm going to leave it at that. I don't think there's much more I can add to that. Just let that soak in and know that as you're going through each and every moment of every day, that you are unconditionally loved by the creator of all things. And I love you too. Have an amazing adventure during this full moon, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon. You take care now.